I didn't know when, but I would be lying to you if I told you that this wasn't part of my dream to come back here and coach. I didn't know how it was going to happen, when it was going to happen. I just want to put my head down and work and just be where my feet are.
You know him as a standout player for the Gamecocks from the Steve Spurrier days, but now he's back in the Garnet and Black, looking to bring back some of that success along with him. Travian Robertson joins us on this episode of Gamecock Talk to tell us why coming home was a dream come true. All right, I got Coach T. Rob with me here. Am I allowed to call you that, or do I have to wait till I get a sack or something on the field?
Yeah, T. Rob is fine.
Perfect.
I mean, I adopted that name, years ago. My dad was T. Rob, my brother was T. Rob, so I'm T. Rob too. So
T. Rob the third, kind of?
T. Rob the third.
That's awesome. Travian Robertson here, of course, you know him from his time back at Carolina in 2007 to 2011. Now coming back, I'll call it coming back home, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, it's definitely coming home.
Tell me a little bit about why you chose Carolina then and why you chose Carolina now.
Okay. I chose it years ago. Just my first time coming in Columbia, it just felt real to me. It was just, one was the relationship with the coaches, Coach Spurrier, Coach Loin, and they told me everything, and it was pretty much a man of their word. So everything they said will happen, graduating, getting playing time, playing in a incredible atmosphere, it was unbelievable. So just seeing the potentials at the time, it was good for me to come here. So
you played early in your career here. I think you got hurt junior year, maybe somewhere in there. Came back and had a phenomenal last season here at Carolina, and you were able to get drafted into the NFL Falcons, right?
Yep.
So what were the coaches here able to do to help you get to that point?
They did everything. They prepared me. Coach Loin, I had a few defensive coordinator, but I was fortunate enough to have their position coach for my entire time here. But one thing he did was just prepare me for the NFL, pushing us in practice, understanding the X's, O's, and just showing us how to, carry ourselves in the real world. So I really appreciate Coach Spurrier and Coach Loin that really poured a lot into us at the time and just showed us how important it was on and off the field, how to, behave and, take care of our business.
Let's fast forward now to just a few months ago when the opportunity came up for you to come back to South Carolina. Take me through that process, and then why was now the right time?
Well, what Coach Beamer has going on right now, I didn't know when, but I would be lying to you if I told you that this wasn't part of my dream to come back here and coach. I didn't know how it was going to happen, when it was going to happen. I just want to put my head down and work and just be where my feet are. But it was a process. When Coach Beamer came in 2020, he reached out to me, and things didn't go as planned, but he stayed in touch. I stayed in touch with him. We shot text message every now and then, and job came open again in 2021, and Coach Beamer gave me another phone call. So I was like, it's getting close. I still have a lot of work to do, and I wasn't ready. I still had a lot of learning to do around 2020, 2021. And then, just last year, a few months ago, Coach Jimmy took a job somewhere else, and Coach Beamer called me again, and I was like, hey, this phone call is real. So I just thank Coach Beamer for being a man of his words, and it was his time, it was God's time, and it was perfect time for me. I think, my wife was excited, my kids were excited, but just that process that day was just, like I said before, it was like I was getting drafted all over again. Just this place is unbelievable. It means a lot to me. And just to have Coach Beamer to call me for this job. So I was very thankful and grateful for the opportunity.
Let's talk about that relationship with Coach Beamer. You guys crossed over a couple of years when he was here as an assistant and you were playing. Was there any relationship there at the time? I know you probably didn't work super closely together.
Well, he probably don't remember this, but I do. He probably does, I don't know. But I remember one time I was so nervous to walk in his office. A good friend of mine, Jay Wooten, was a kicker here. He was at the team up the road that we got to play at he was playing there. and he was just in a bad spot. He wanted out, and so I went to Coach Beamer and was like, hey, this guy's a great kicker. We need to get him here. And it's like he trusted me. He was like, hey, let's get him. And Jay came and was a great kicker for us. So that was one of my encounters where I didn't play a lot of special teams. I'm sorry, Coach Beamer, but I didn't play a lot of special teams.
Yeah, he won't like that, right? Yeah.
But it was just, that was being able to go in his office and sit down and have a conversation with him about someone he didn't know. When he looked at the film, he trusted what he saw. He trusted me, that knowing that Jay Wooten was a great person. So he's a great listener. He does his research, and that's the same. It felt like the same when he called me. He listened to me, I listened to him, and he does his research to make the right decision. So that was one encounter I had with Coach Beamer when I was playing. But just to watch him coach, and he had a room with some good guys like Captain Munnell and a lot of good guys that came through here. So he had some great guys in his room, and they did really good while he was here. So it wasn't doubt in my mind that he was going to be who he is today. And Coach still young; he have a long way to go. So I'm looking forward to seeing how his career pans out.
Well, how has he changed to now, being the head coach versus what you saw when you were back here playing?
He hasn't changed. He's the same person. The only difference is he's a head coach. That's one thing I like about most coaches. They don't change when they're a position coach or a head coach. Some do, but Coach Beamer, he's the same demeanor, same person. He's going to be who he is. I mean, he had more responsibility, but as a person, I don't see any difference as a person. We loved to be around him back then, and we love to be around him now.
We've talked with just about everybody we've spoken to. I've asked them about the culture, right? So that's something that every coach wants to say, is that they want to help build the culture. But at South Carolina, it's happening, right? Like, it feels like from a fan perspective, from the outside in, that is a true thing that's really happening as a culture is being built.
Yeah, Coach Beamer is the culture here. He's the blueprint of our culture. And it's for us to make sure, we keep the culture in the building. Like I said, he's who he is. He's a great person. We love to work for him. The players love having him. But he is our culture. And he's a stand-up guy. He's a man of his word, and he's about his business. So, and that's what we're teaching our guys to be, stand-up guys and be about your business. So he's the great person for this, this culture. He is the culture of South Carolina right now.
Let's talk about the atmosphere, 2001, all of that. When you were playing, I'm sure you loved it. Have you, correct me if I'm wrong, but have you come back to coach in Williams-Brice, maybe when you were at Georgia State or anything? Or would that not happen?
No, I wanted to. But unfortunately, things had happened where I took the job at Tulane. So
okay, so just missed.
Just missed. That was one game I was looking forward to just because of the atmosphere. Right. And at Georgia State, we had a huge stadium there, but we didn't feel it the way it feels here. So I wanted my guys to see, the atmosphere that I played in when I was at, Georgia. I wanted those guys to see it. But I had some chances to come back. Before my coaching got picked up, and it was unbelievable. I get the chills every time I love that Coach Beamer. I said, man, I'm getting the chills already.
So you're still early in your coaching career. I hope I can say that. Yeah. You're still a young guy, and you've already had a lot of success where you've been looking up some of the numbers of the run defense, the average yards per rush against you guys, where you've been in Georgia State and Tulane. So all you've done is really, put your stamp on defensive line where you've been. How can you do that here?
Just following Coach White plans, and my style of play when I play was fast and physical, and just showing the guys a different eye. I played a position, so technique was very huge to me, and just teaching guys how to shed blocks and make plays. I tell them there's two types of players in this world: it's either you're a playmaker or a block gobbler, and it's okay to have a block gobbler, but, we like playmakers. So once I get there in their heads and get them playing fast and seeing it at a different view, the guys usually just buy into it. So I use that method everywhere I went, and it worked. So I'm just looking forward to see if it works here.
Well, as you know, stopping the run is critical in any college football game, but it's enhanced, it feels like, at least in the SEC. You know that from firsthand experience. Have you been able to obviously the older guys know that, but with the younger guys coming in, have you been able to talk with them about that? Like, hey, stopping the run is huge here at South Carolina. Like
you said, it's a part of any defense. Like I said, I don't know the ins and outs, what happened when I wasn't here. I'm not saying I'm coming here to make sure to run and stop. That is my job, but it's just part of, playing football, playing defense. You gotta, hit, tackle, and so we're gonna do that to the best of our ability. Just getting 11 hats with the ball is the one easy way to say stop and run. If you're playing fast, doing your job, we can do whatever we got to do to stop the run. I'm tired of talking about it, and I'm just ready to go out and show it.
Well, you're replacing some names and a lot of minutes on the defensive line. You're probably tired of talking about that too, honestly, right? But so who's kind of stepped up so far that you've seen over the summer and in camp since you've been here?
TJ Saunders stepped up a lot. I've been hearing a lot about his spring ball, and just watching him grow, watching him, mature and just soak everything in. He can be a really big factor for our defense this year. You know what you're going to get out of Alex Huntley. You know what you're going to get out of Tonka. But just for a guy that is under the radar right now, he's really stepped up, and I would say that would be TJ.
Let's talk about a little bit of your background in terms of your family. You mentioned you have a wife, 3 kids, all sons, right?
All boys.
Are there a couple T-Robs in there?
There's all T-Robs in
Are there really?
All T's.
That's awesome. Tell me about just them a little bit, and then when you were able to tell them, hey, we're moving to Columbia.
Well, my oldest, he was born here, when I was here, and he don't have any memory of what happened. He was so young. But they knew that I played here, so just to know that we was coming back here, everyone was excited. My wife was extremely excited to be back because this is home for her also. But, we all settled in now, and I think it's finally hitting them like, hey, this is a huge deal. So I'm telling them, like at the last school I was at, you probably can get to the game an hour before and be fine. But I was like, hey, y'all got to get up early. You got to prepare the night before. This is football country. So it's going to be a little different for them, coming to these games and seeing where, I actually played at and, what built my career. So I'm excited. I'm glad I'm, fortunate enough, and I can't thank Coach Beamer enough to allow my kids to witness South Carolina football. I never thought that it will happen this soon, but I'm just glad that, my kids are old enough to remember it now.